Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to walk through the 4 main ways you burn calories on a daily basis, which is then going to help us understand how we can effectively burn fat on a daily basis. If you do enjoy the video, please do drop a like. If you have any questions throughout, throw them down below. I'll get back to you. If you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe. Okay, so to drop body fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. Calorie deficit is taking in less calories than we are expending. So a big part of that equation is calorie expenditure. So understanding how we then burn calories or expend calories on a daily basis is going to massively help us to then put ourselves into this calorie deficit. Because if we can understand the most effective ways to burn calories day to day, we're then going to do a very good job at putting ourselves in this calorie deficit, being consistent in this calorie deficit, and then burning fat on a consistent basis. So there's 4 main ways in which we burn calories on a day-to-day basis. We're going to walk them through right now so we can identify the ones that we might want to focus on to get the best results. So number 1, we have our BMR, or our basal metabolic rate. Now this is simply the calories, the energy that you're expending just at rest. So when you're not really doing anything, if you're just sat there watching TV, just through bodily processes, you're going to be expending and burning calories. Now, this is thought to equate roughly anywhere from like 60 to maybe like 70% of our total daily expenditure. So that is a lot. Now, because it's just burning calories at rest, which is essentially sat there not doing anything, is there a way that we can burn more calories through this factor? In the short term, no, not really, because you're just at rest. However, in the long term, potentially. It is thought that people who hold more muscle mass do burn more calories while at rest. Now, we're obviously talking long term here because this might take months, years to accumulate even small amounts of muscle mass. But even these small amounts of muscle mass might then equate to a significant amount of calories burned if we're looking again over a long period of time. So we might not be able to make significant changes on the short term from our BMR, but over the long term, just in terms of general metabolic health, we can look at adding muscle mass, which then might help us be more efficient at burning calories while at rest. Then we have our NEAT, which stands for Non-Exercise Activity Thermogenesis, which in simple terms means the calories you're expending on a daily basis through daily activity that isn't planned exercise. So this might be just walking to and from places. So when you park at work and you walk into work, those steps going into work. This might be if you're stood up more than you sit down through the day. It can even be things like if people fidget a lot, that can even then contribute to your NEAT. This is why you hear steps spoken about so much in relation to fat loss, okay? Because it's a way to increase your daily activity, your NEAT, away from, let's say, planned exercise. Now, this is thought to contribute from anywhere, let's say 10 to almost like 30% of your daily expenditure. Obviously, these numbers are going to determine, how active someone is. So the more active you are, the bigger percentage is likely going to contribute. But anywhere from 10 to 30% is still a decent number. And here's the great thing about our NEAT is we have the ability to then increase that and burn more calories through it. Like I was just speaking about in regards to steps. If we can increase our step count day to day, that's going to contribute a lot to our daily expenditure and calories burnt. Then we have our EAT, E-A-T, or Exercise Activity Thermogenesis. So this is basically the planned exercise that you're doing day to day. So weight training sessions, aerobic sessions, you get the idea. Now this is thought to only contribute maybe to, let's say, 0% if someone was doing nothing, up to, let's say, like 20% of your daily expenditure. So it's a much smaller number in comparison to our NEAT. Again, we do have ways to increase this, obviously by maybe training more frequently if people have time, training longer if people have time, but we do have the ability to maybe enhance the amount of calories we're burning through this factor. But given that the percentage of our daily expenditure is likely lower in this in comparison to our NEAT, that's maybe potentially giving us some idea of where our efforts might have a bigger return when it comes to creating a deficit and burning body fat. And then lastly, we have our TEF, thermic effect of food. Simply put, when you eat food, through the process of eating it and digesting it, you actually do also burn calories. This is thought to equate to anywhere from like 8 to 15% of your daily expenditure. So the number is small, however, it's worth knowing that it does occur. Now, there's not a lot we can do in the short term, if anything, to increase this number. Some people do think having a diet high in protein and high volume foods does increase the amount of calories burnt through thermic effect of food. Whether that number is anywhere near significant, probably not. In all honesty, I wouldn't really stress that factor. There's not a lot you can do in the short term. So, going off those 4 factors, the 2 main ones that we can really have a significant effect on is our NEAT and our EAT. So our non-planned daily activity and our planned daily activity. And the one that's going to contribute the most likely, for most individuals, is our NEAT, our non-planned activity. So, if we're looking for the most effective ways to put ourselves into a calorie deficit through the expenditure of calories and therefore help us in dropping body fat, this might indicate that the daily activity that we're doing away from planned activity is going to play a huge role. So when it comes to fat loss, yes, get control, manage that food intake, because that's one big part of the equation. With the second part of the equation, the expenditure, looking at stuff like increasing our daily expenditure, our steps, being active of how much we're sitting, and if it's possible that we can get up and stand a bit more. Those sort of activities, those sort of thought processes, those sort of actions are going to help massively in consistently increasing our expenditure to help put us in a calorie deficit. Exercise training is obviously then going to contribute alongside that too. However, because it's of a lesser extent, yes, we can still recognize that we can burn calories through it, obviously, but maybe it's better to view it as the other benefits that come along with the training rather than viewing it as our primary source of burning calories. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, please drop a like. If you had any questions throughout them, throw it down below. I'll get back to you. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to keep up to date with further videos which are going to help you and your goal. Take care. I'll catch you on the next one.